totally heard you. Sorry about
It's like I don't know if I can remember what I just said.
that.
No, but I did want to just say that, and then I'm kind of looking into a bunch of this stuff, just trying to get kind of you and with Dean about the majority of this stuff, and I'm just
You're breaking up a little bit. Are you in a bad area, Andy?
asked me to just because she's a little she runs a little hot and she knows it, and
Right.
she doesn't want to burn the relationship, and that's the biggest thing I've been telling her is, look, you may be right or you may be wrong, but the worst part is you're not, you're burning the relationship by blowing up and saying some of the things you're saying, and that's not where you want to be.
Right.
That's not where we want to be.
And look, I don't want to be there either. And so you broke up there for a little bit. So basically, what I was sending last night. I mean, it wasn't to be petty. Like Dean reached out to me after we talked, and he's like, "Man, I don't know what happened, but you know, your Charlotte girl just called me and fired me, and then she called me back and asked me to do something for her." And
Right.
and
It was actually the same. Like kind of.
right.
I think what happened. Well, I don't even want to. I
Sure.
think I can address one thing with it. So I guess the first thing is so we're losing Ryan. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that.
We're losing Ryan, and part of Ryan's frustration has been kind of some of the things that we've talked about, which is, down in Louisiana, you guys have the benefit of 5 years of SEO, 5 years of Google Ads, 5 years of just a lot of agents on the ground and spreading the word, and we're kind of building this market, and it's slower. It's slower. It's been slower, than expected in some regard, because I think that the concept here is, hey, we're 1%. And everything's digital, and and it sells itself, and that's not exactly right.
Right.
It is, but it's not exactly. So he's not done as well as he would have hoped, and so we're going to lose him, unfortunately. And so we started looking at some of our lead generation numbers, and we're spending some heavy dollars on just hits, right? People that come to the website and check it out. And then as far as conversions go, we're spending crazy money on, because we haven't really, technically, I think we have one in the pipe that may convert, but, you start looking at your dollars per conversion and your dollars per lead, and you're like, this is,
right.
We need to think about this. And frankly, to be perfectly honest with you, not to make that phone call immediately to Dean, and I was like, exactly, because obviously this may be just how it is, right? But maybe it's not.
So we've definitely seen that. So just complete transparency on everything. My neighboring franchises to the home office they just explode because of the brand recognition. I've got some offices like in Florida that are doing incredibly well, and then I've got some that are going through the same thing. So I'll give you a perfect example. One of my franchisees moved to Tampa Bay from here, and whenever he got there, he's like, dude, he's like, I know you're killing it back home, but he's like, this is work here. He's like, we're more advanced, we're better than the other little crappy companies that are doing this here. But he said at the same time, I'm still competing with them, and it's going to take a little bit of time for me to dominate here like you are there. He's like, every time I talk to him, he's like, dude, it's not easy. You're not on autopilot like you are back home. And I get that, and I understand that. And look, that's one of the reasons, like, for example, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but I'm literally the reason that I took a minute to get on the phone call with you, because I'm spending, several $1,000s a month to hire an American-based cold calling service to sit there and make dials for you guys.
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So basically there's a company called Lead Mining Pros. I hired them. They're an American-based cold calling service. I'm also buying, a couple $1,000s worth of expired, withdrawn, and for sale by owner homeowner data from the Red X And I'm going to be providing that list to all those dialers to just sit there and cold call for you guys all day long and try to drive brand recognition. And I'm buying 2 counties as well as Mecklenburg, right around Mecklenburg, with the idea of just giving it to you guys. And look, I'm not going to be charging, if at all possible, I'm not going to charge you anything at all for it. I'm just going to give you the leads as long as I can break even on it. But it's one of those things where, I get it. I understand it. Where you're at is where I was 5 years ago when I started this. I was like, man, I should be doing a lot more than I'm doing, and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, I understand. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, that's what I was going to say. Now I was going to back up and say, look, let me say this. I just gave you the negative, but the positive is we're busier than we've ever been in November.
Sure.
So there are positives, right?
Yep.
And we can see the potential, right? It's there.
Sure.
It's just a matter of brand recognition, like you just explained.
Yep.
And so it's not an issue. Those are just the challenges that we have, right?
Sure.
But we understand that.
And look,
I would say, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say one other thing is the majority, I'd say 95, maybe 90, at this point, 99% of all of our conversions or our sales are coming from, majority of them are coming from wins for sale by owner text. She's getting the numbers and calling and cold calling and sending text to the for sale by owner. So the majority are coming from that. And then door hangers and mailers that we're sending out too.
Yep.
So we also have some radio ads running.
Cool.
We're not sure if those are really doing anything, but those are long-term kind of brand recognition things. So the point being is you're absolutely right. Those are the places you want to be. I certainly want to talk to you about that a little more. Maybe not right this second. I got to walk into something at 1:00, but I was going to say definitely want to talk to you a little bit about that a little more, just to understand it a little bit, because I just don't know. I don't know how. I just don't know how well people handle or like the cold call, companies doing it. I don't know if it's more personalized with with the actual agent doing it versus a company doing it. And I just wanted to have that conversation.
Sure.
I just don't know the answer to that.
And I had that conversation with a couple of my other franchisees, and they told me, they're like, look, it's always going to be better to have an agent do it. And I agree with that. But the problem is, there's only so many hours in the day for you or Win to reach out to somebody. And my point is that I can't have, these people are not going to be realtors, so I can't have them doing real estate work. But what I can do is say, hey, are you the property owner of this address? Are you still interested in selling it? And if the answer is yes, then they'll simply say, are you aware there's a company in your area that only charges 1% for a full service local agent? Would you like to speak to one? And if the answer is yes, they're going to send an email to leads@1percentlist.com. If the answer is not right now, we're going to direct them to, hey, before you hire anybody else, go check out discountrealestatebrokers.com and learn more about us. And with the idea of just generating brand recognition, no different than a radio ad and no different than digital marketing and everything else. It's just letting the world know we exist. And I truly think that's why we do well where we do well here, is because, you can't look anywhere without seeing our signs. Right. And once you get to that point, it's a lot easier, but it's getting to that point that's hard.
Yeah, for sure. And then real quickly, and again, I hate to run off.
No, you're good.
But real quickly, just to address the South Carolina agent, you're absolutely right with regard to the Kannapolis, proximity. When she's sensitive to it. But I understand what you're saying. I think the real rub. And the thing that I said yesterday, which I probably said it incorrect, said it in a bad way, which I said it could be bullshit, is with regard to the North Carolina agent. And I think the reason it's a little bit of a rub is because I think, and look, you're growing, dude. You don't have time to worry about where people live. I get that. But I think the rub there is that I guess Wynn had a conversation with you previously where your opinion. She lives 15 minutes from us and is probably 30 or 45 minutes from South Carolina border. Your conversation was, hey, this agent needs to come on with you, not the South Carolina agent, right?
Right.
And then a couple months later, she's on with the South Carolina agent, and it's like, maybe on our side, we should have followed up on that more and kind of said, well, where we at? We just kind of let it go.
Right.
And yes, there is. I just think it's a little bit of a
I could see that. I could see that pissing off somebody. And so look, here's the thing, and this is not an excuse. This is just the truth. From my standpoint, I mean, I've had a million conversations since that day, and I don't even know if that's the same person because I never really spoke to that person. All I knew was that somebody told me, my South Carolina girl said, "Hey, I've got somebody from North Carolina that might want to join. Where do you think about that?" And my advice to her was, look, they own Mecklenburg County. You should not be adding agents in Mecklenburg County. Okay. Just because it's not cool. And like I've got two sisters here, and the sister does not belong to the other sister's brokerage because I know where she's going to do her deals. She's going to do her deals in this other person's backyard. And I made that clear to her. But apparently that person does not live in Mecklenburg County. And which is according to her, she doesn't. Now look, I'll be 100% honest with you. I haven't Googled her. I don't know where she lives, but she told me, she's like, look, she doesn't live in Mecklenburg County. And she said, furthermore, the listing that I got, I didn't farm it. Like this was somebody that knows me and sent me this person. And so
yeah, we're cool with that. Yeah, no, we understand that part. That's again, it's just the agent. It's not the listing. Like
sure.
It's not the listing. At least for me, it's not the listing. I'm like, I get that. You're gonna have. I mean, we're so close. We're gonna have cross pollination.
Right.
And I have no problem with that.
Right. And
I do have concerns.
You're breaking up a little bit. Go ahead.
As well. Okay. So that's cross pollination. We're so close to South Carolina, but what I was going to say is that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel relatively confident that this person lives about 15 minutes from me, which is that I'm right in the middle of Mecklenburg County, right?
Sure.
She's I'm pretty sure in Mecklenburg County, but I'll double check it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I just don't know what the stance is there. And we're just trying to understand kind of what the I guess the company policy is going to be on that, and how we're going to address it. And because if she comes up and has another 2 or 3 agents in Mecklenburg County, that's really going to piss.
Oh, look, and I get it. So this was, I can't tell you my exact words, but this is the words I've always used in those situations. I told the South Carolina girl, I said, look, if she's in Mecklenburg County, she needs to join WIN. And the reason is because WIN is the one putting effort into Mecklenburg County. And so she should not join another company to reap the benefits from a broker that she is not serving under. And that is exactly what I told her. Now look, I've barely had conversations with the other girl other than the fact that she's like, holy shit, this person's mad at me. She told me, she said she does not live in Mecklenburg County. And she said the listing is not in Mecklenburg County. Now look, I have not had time to verify any of it. My only thing, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're right. The listing is not in Mecklenburg County, so that's not even an issue. I wouldn't even.
And I'll find out about the agent. I'll find out about the agent. I'll find out where she lives, because that was what I told her. Is I was like, look, it's not cool to be adding agents that are going to farm their neighborhoods and their areas if they're in somebody else's restricted area. That's just not cool. And I made that very clear to her. But she's telling me she's not in Mecklenburg County. Here's my thing to you and WIN. You guys own Mecklenburg County, and WIN has right of first refusal and everything else. We had a disagreement on 2 counties that were named the same thing, one in North Carolina, one in South Carolina, and I squashed it immediately, and I apologized profusely to you guys. Okay, and I wanted to make that right. But during that, it was veiled threats of I'm going to sue you.
I know, you're right.
And then yesterday it was the same thing, only it was overt. It was like, hey, we're just going to sue you. And my whole thing to WIN is this: is like, WIN, you have right of first refusal to as much territory as you can get, and I'm cool with honoring that. But the flip side of it is, we have to be able to have a conversation. If something's not cool and it happened, call me and tell me this happened and this is not cool, and I want to chat with you about, like you're doing with me. Don't call me and say I'm lawyering up. Get ready, because all that's going to make me say is, oh my God, I don't want this person to have any more territory.
That's right.
Because they're scaring me. They're going out of their way to scare me.
We had that. No. I'm not. There's none of that going on.
Right.
I'm sure we had that conversation. Quite a heated conversation.
Sure. I've been there.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, I get it. And I said, but the problem is here is, even if you are right, let's just say you're 100% right about everything, the approach is shit because nobody wants to fucking with you, and even if you're right, it's because
right.
So we got to temper this, and that's why I'm calling. And again, I'm probably going to be the more point person with you and Dean or whomever moving forward, just because we don't want to have that. She admitted, she's like, I got to handle things better, and she's like, but I believe in it, and I'm just passionate about it, and I don't. It pissed me off. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but you can't approach it the way you're approaching it. It's just not right.
And look, I love both of you guys for believing in it and for working at it as hard as you are. And that's one of the reasons why literally I'm trying to figure out whatever I can do on my end, including spending money that literally I just want to give away. And that's no bullshit. Okay. Right. Literally doing that right now. I just want to see it work. But it's got to be more constructive, and I don't want her mad. And I would love a phone call from her saying, all right, shit, I want to do this. Let's figure out how to do this. Right. Okay. And dude, do it. But it's like the only time we talk is when I'm getting yelled at. Yeah. And it's like, how can I help? Tell me how I can help, and let's do it. And I'm 1,000% cool with that. But it's one of those things where, until she buys a county, she doesn't have exclusive rights to it. Okay. And that's just how it has to be. Now, look, if you and Wynn go take over all of North Carolina, more power to you, and you'll own the whole damn thing. And hopefully we'll get along, and that'll be great. But until then, there's a difference between saying, hey, hold this for me, and hey, I own it.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% correct. And we get that. It's just,
it's the timing, dude. And a lot of work and a lot of stress and everything else, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, and it's, again, there's she's like I say, she's admitted she handled it wrong, and it's not, when she gets hot, she says stuff that.
Oh, dude, we're all that way.
Yep.
I'm married to one, and so is she. So no, we get it. we get it, dude. We get it. And look, just tell her, like, look, I'm cool, but let's look. My opinion is, if we get you guys to where you're doing far more deals and you're way more profitable, then this deal is hopefully not going to matter.
That's right. That's the whole point. I agree with you 100% on that.
You got to feel like you can breathe. Once you feel like you can breathe, then none of this shit really matters anymore.
That's right. Well, I told her, I said, look, the bigger you get, the more toes you got to get. Your toes are going to get stepped on more. And I said, so you're going to have to get a little tougher skin and be able to just roll it off your back, because this isn't really that big. It's a big deal, but it's not as big a deal as it was made out of.
It seems like it's more of a principled line in the sand type thing than it is an actual thing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So.
All right, sir. Well, I do appreciate your time,
dude,
and we'll talk with you soon.
I appreciate you guys too. Go do well with your meeting, and y'all have a good weekend. Let's just chill out, and we'll reconnect Monday or whenever next week, and hopefully I'll get this stuff rolled out, and we'll start generating a lot more brand recognition. Shit's water under the bridge.
Sounds great, sir.
All right, bro. Take care. Thank you. Hey, I appreciate it.